finding. That's a good idea. If I want to just listen and not talk, I could change my name to Dandelion Can't Talk. That's actually a really good idea. I'll have to remember that one. Soukiiii, heart emoji, old school, twerk. Feel free to speak up if you have a comment or question.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. That's Soukiiii. How's it going?
How are you?
Pretty good.
How
How
are
are
you
you?
doing? I'm
I'm
good,
doing
thank you.
well. I'm doing
Well, I
very well.
just
Yeah, I had a good day.
well, I just find this interesting topic, flat Earth, and I just want to know what is the I don't know who suggests this topic. What is his own belief about is it the Earth flat or whatever?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So you haven't heard much about it before. This is new to you.
Yeah, this is new to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, basically what we have found out, many of us here have looked into the topic, and we thought, like most people think, because we're taught in school, that the globe idea is decided and proven, and just given to us as a definite fact. We assumed that there was some mathematics or science to back it up, but then when we looked into it, we found out that there is no curvature that has been measured, and that actually we can see much further than we would be able to see if we lived on a globe.
Wow.
Yeah.
But is there a proof that the Earth is flat?
Well, actually, there's
Because if
many
there
proofs.
is
I mean,
no Because if there is no proofs or studies whatever that the Earth it's not globe, so how about the Earth is flat?
yeah, well, I'll give you one example of the observation that I've made, and then basically, I mean, you could call them proofs if you want to. Some people do. I mean, basically, what they are, they're counter examples. Do you know what I mean by
Okay.
counter example?
Yes, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. So, like, if the Earth, we are given a definite radius of the Earth of 3,959 miles. And so we can use that to test in reality how far we would be able to see before objects would be obscured behind this alleged curve. But then when we go out there and test it, like, do you see that image I put there in the chat?
Please?
That
Oh,
is
in the chat.
the,
Okay.
yeah, I tagged you in there. Can you see it? Where it says
Yeah,
52
yes.
miles away? Yeah. Yeah. So that's the skyline of the city of Chicago. And where I live in Michigan, Lake Michigan is on the west side of the state and forms the border of the west side of the state. And then when you go over to the coastline of Lake Michigan, which is a gigantic lake, when people come there from Europe, when we used to have visitors from Europe, they were shocked because they'd never been to a lake that was so big that it looked like the ocean, because most of the time you look out on it and all you see is the flat horizon. You don't see anything most of the time, except, the ships and so on. But sometimes you can see from places in the southern part of Lake Michigan, you can see the skyline of the city of Chicago across Lake Michigan. So this particular image is at 52 miles. I've seen it myself at varying distances, even further than that. But if we lived on a globe, then the skyline would be hidden behind the curve of the globe.
Because I was when you show me that picture, I was thinking that this is just a one side view. Like there are many views. So for example, there is mountains, there is plateaus, plains. So there's different views. I don't know. I don't
Can
really
you
see this.
can you repeat those last? I didn't understand the last things you said, where you
For
said there's
example,
different views and then you gave examples. Yeah, what were those examples?
for example, mountains. So if you you were in the for example, if you were behind in front of a mountain, what you're going to see? You're going to see like a mountain. You're going to see a wall. So you're not going to I mean you cannot have a whole definition or a whole proof that, because that you just look on one side on the mountain, and you can say the Earth, it's not like flat, and it's not a globe, it's like square, or whatever. So, but if you go to another place, like for example the ocean, when you look in front, you can see like this this image that you sent. You can see that the Earth looks flat. So your belief, is it based on just like this picture that you've sent, on just this view, like how you see the Earth?
Great question. Yeah, hold on. I was trying to find you another image here. Oh yeah, good. I'm still unmuted. I can't remember if I muted myself or not. Yeah, that's a great question because yeah, mine is totally not based on just one image. I only like gave you that one because that's the one like I personally seen and studied the most. But I'm trying to find you this other one that's like, oh, here it is. Yep, here's one. Because when we're talking about the horizon, so yes, when you look out on the ocean, you can see much further than you would be able to see if you lived on a globe of the dimensions claimed. And yeah, this is only one. There are so many examples. I mean, depending on how much time you have, like we could literally sit here all night and give you example after example after example after example. But you know, it only takes one counterexample to disprove a false conjecture, right? Because that it's a mathematical thing. It's like if we lived on a globe of this radius, then we would be able to determine at what rate the curvature was increasing, which the rate is 8 inches per mile squared. And then the other image, which I'll put in there again, I don't know if you saw it, which
Yes,
is the horizon image. Yeah. So anyway, that is a different calculation than the 8 inches per mile squared, but it's still just the geometry of a sphere with the claimed radius. So, and these are the mainstream globe curvature calculations that we are testing. So that's why I told you they're counterexamples. You could call them proofs. Some people do, but they're really just counterexamples to the official globe claim. So this mathematics that I'm telling you about, you could Google. I'll put the term in there: Earth curve calculator, and that would tell you. What is the expected drop over distance, the expected obscuring that you would have if you lived on a globe, because objects would be hidden behind this curve. But the maximum distance for the geometric horizon, if you were on a globe, of those dimensions is 1.22 miles times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So that's how that image here is, that's what that one is trying to explain to you there. So if the observer's height in this image is 8 feet, then the maximum distance for geometric horizon is 3.46 miles. And this is one that's been studied a lot. I can show you the original video. There's so many of them from this channel where this observation has been repeated over and over and over because, we expect any kind of measurements, observations, tests, and so on to be observable, testable, repeatable, and verifiable, which is not the case with the globe. So anyway, then you can see the horizon is behind the furthest platform. The furthest platform is 10 miles, and the horizon is behind there, which is way further than the 3 miles that you would expect.
But isn't it like the way they took like this picture and they measure like and they calculate this distance, whatever? Doesn't it look like it's kind of bit it's a very like close place. It's not close, even if it's like 8 foot or 10 miles, whatever. But it's a very like close to if you want to measure like the whole things. Because like sometimes I remember like I watch like some videos of the people that they do skydiving. Like when they like picture the view from up in the sky, you can just see like there are like some sort of italic like direction. Like it looks like the Earth is not flat. So that's what makes me like very like confused about that, because calculating and measuring like distance and the Earth looking in the Earth when you are like standing, it's not like when you are in the sky. It's not like when you are in another place in the mountain, in the like in the highest place. So, for example, if someone he was in the like I've seen like I saw a video of a person who climbed the mountains, and he was in the Everest. So he took like a picture like from the high place. So the look of the Earth also it's not the same as here. So I think that I'm not saying that the Earth is flat or not. But well, I'm going to look for that thing because it's an interesting topic. I actually don't have a lot of time because I'm still
Cool.
like I am still like working on my exams. But this topic it catch my like my feelings and my interests. So I enjoy with your conversation, and thank you so much because you gave me a lot of time and you explained a lot. But well, if you still like tomorrow, I can came and discuss about this.
Yes, you should totally come back tomorrow. Yeah, we like just a cyclone here started this channel here, so yeah, somebody should be around. I'll probably be around. But yeah, I mean, I was just going to mention real quick about what you said about the high jumping and
Yes,
so
yes,
on. So
yes.
yeah, there's wildly varying accounts of what the curvature is like. So that's why I put that image there at 39 minutes after the hour, because this was a jump at 127,570 feet. Felix Baumgartner, they called it the Red Bull jump. But anyway, so like in some of the images and video accounts of this jump, they did show a curvature, and the curvature was not accurate to what you would expect, where the continents would be, the degree of curvature, and so on. And it was acknowledged by mainstream media that there was fisheye lens going on. So that image there is from the cockpit, and it shows the flat horizon. Yes, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I shared another image that is right as he is landing, and the horizon goes upturned. It's like a concave thing because of the fisheye lens that he's using, a wide-angle lens.
Yeah, so sometimes when you see that curvature, it's due to the lenses. But yeah, and then I just put a list of some of the other observations. So what'd you say?
You should check it out in the side chat. This one's inverted though, like it's concave,
I
like
see it.
curving upward. It's obviously that's so weird.
That is weird. I don't think I've seen it quite like that before. That's pretty bizarre. Yeah, that's from the same jump. That's what he's saying.
Yep.
Soukiiii.
When I noticed it, I had to get it. I had to click that part.
But I watched another video, like there's another like view. Like I think maybe I should not trust the camera because sometimes camera catch like a view, another camera with another version they catch like the view with another way. So I don't really know which I can trust. So, but it's fine. I'm going to look for that thing, inshallah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're totally new to it, then yeah, there's like a lot to it. So yeah, if you've got to study for your exams, then
Yeah.
that's cool. I hope they go well. You're taking exams tomorrow or later today?
Yeah, tomorrow. No, tomorrow. Like today, like now it's 2 a.m. It's 2 in the morning, so I'm still like awake, and I think that I should have some sleep to wake up tomorrow.
Yes, because half the battle, yes, is having a good frame of mind. So yep, you got to get some rest.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Walla.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's great talking to you. So hopefully we'll get to talk to you again.
Great to talk to you. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night or day.
You too. Good night.
Goodbye.
Maybe I was like practicing like in and out, like I don't know, years, 3 years, 4 years, and yeah, I developed maybe some fluency.
Yep, you sound pretty good, man. You're doing good.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, I will keep listening to you guys. What are you talking about? Flat Earth. Thanks for welcoming. But why is all these people like mute? They are doing other things. Just listen.
No, some people are listening, but what we try to do here, because we're streaming live to YouTube, you're now a YouTube star, by the way. We like to keep the conversation very clear and concise. So if there's a couple of people that are having a discussion, everybody else will mute so that it's a clear discussion, and then someone else will take their turn, rather than everybody just talking over everybody, because that becomes a big mess and nobody can hear or understand anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's many people trying to speak each other. No, it's crazy, but yeah.
So you have the hot seat right now. You are the speaker.
I'm the speaker. So at the moment I'm getting streamed into YouTube.
Yes, you are. You're a YouTube star, my friend.
No way. Oh, bro, I love it. So yeah. So one argument that I hear about flat Earth is that I know I'm not if it is an argument, but it's like if you sail to the ocean, you can see how the Earth gets curvy at the end, some kind of curvy, and that's like a contra argument about this flat Earth. But I don't know much
So I
about
think
it.
you're
So
talking about. I feel like you're talking about that boats that sail out into the ocean appear
yeah,
to disappear bottom up as they go over the horizon. Is that correct?
yeah. I think it is. It is. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure one of the guys here can speak to you about it. I've got to run and do a few, and I'll be listening as well. But I'm sure that AI or DJ or someone in here can help you out with boats over the horizon.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but I hear that arguments in favor of flat Earth are not too strong, right? Uh, I don't know why. I'm not an expert in anything, but that's what I see on the internet. That flat Earth arguments can be sustained in some way.
Okay.
That's a,
So,
that's a good thing you're here to hear the real arguments. Go ahead, says who?
so
Yeah,
you've heard one argument about the water. You remember the water?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that that's a strong argument or not so strong that the 70% of the earth that you live on is water and it's horizontal? Would you say that's strong or weak?
For me, if I see it, if I try to see it logically, it's a weak argument, and I will
Okay.
tell because if if I go to the space, if I look to the Earth, I can see a round, a round thing is circle. So how can
Okay.
it be flat? And yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful with the arguments around flat Earth, but if I see it logically, it feels like a weak argument that flat
Well,
or Earth could be flat. Right?
don't worry about being disrespectful. You're not disrespectful. Believe me, we know what disrespectful is. But if the earth that you live on is 70% water and that water is flat, how do you have a ball 70% of the earth is flat?
Yeah, interesting. I don't have a right answer, but yeah, it's something to keep in mind and make some thinking process, and yeah. But I will need to hear different perspectives, but yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So if I told you that everybody, including yourself, treats the earth as flat and stationary, what would you say to that?
Treat the earth?
Yeah, treats the earth. You use it. You every day you do things treating the earth as a flat and stationary plane. What would you say to that?
Okay. Yeah, if I go around the earth and do things around earth, yeah, I could feel that every place where I go feels flat. There is no
Right.
a curve or round or anything like that. But yeah, I feel like it is like in the short term, it feels flat.
Sure. So would you say that your entire idea of the earth being round has only come from an external source, meaning somebody told you or you saw a photo or an image of it, and it's just kind of what everybody else believes? Would you say that is your only experience or exposure to the round earth?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because as you say, many of the exposure or the knowledge that someone can have comes from being outside of the Earth.
Yeah.
Maybe in a plane or in space or a picture. And yeah, and it is difficult for me as a person to explore the Earth in those levels, to be outside the Earth. If I will be like a millionaire in his rocket space and I will go to out of the Earth, maybe I could experience by myself what I'm looking at is something round, and maybe that will be like a more personal experience, to be more convinced, to be to see, to know the Earth.
Yeah, that's interesting, brother. Let me help you. Let me help you with that.
Yeah,
So, in all of human history, there's a certain group of people who allegedly have been far enough away from the Earth to see the whole Earth. That's less than 20 people, and I believe only 3 of them are left alive, and those are the Apollo mission astronauts. No other human being has ever been far enough away from the Earth to see the Earth. Not even the ISS astronauts.
Okay, interesting. So yeah. So there is no too many people that have the direct experience to realize that. Yeah.
I think there's 3 people left alive who supposedly have the direct experience of seeing the Earth as a globe. Everybody else has only seen a portion of the Earth at a time.
Wow. Well, I see. That's interesting, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some arguments are in favor. They have some sustained arguments to think about. Yeah.
Quite a lot of the arguments that you would have been talking about that you've seen on YouTube or something like that aren't the arguments that you'll find us using in here the majority of the time. What some of these flat earth debunkers do on YouTube is they cherry pick really bad arguments, right? They'll find a flat earther that's making a very flawed argument, and then they'll make a video saying, this is what flat earthers claim, right? So they'll make a debunking video about a cherry-picked, very bad argument from a flat earther and present that like we all think that. So YouTube's very biased in the algorithm, and it's going to give you a lot of videos like that are presenting misinformation. And once you actually come in here and talk to real flat earthers, you'll find the arguments are extremely strong.
Yeah. Maybe if you can talk with people that have these strong arguments, and try to elaborate or thinking about it, you can feel like the arguments are more strong than what the YouTubers outside the internet they tell you. And I don't know, but one thing that is came to my mind at the moment is, if Earth is flat, there should be an edge where the Earth finish, or not? I'm curious about it.
We're not claiming to know the shape of the Earth when we're talking about a flat Earth. We're not claiming an edge, right? We're not claiming like a disk planet in space or anything like that, right? When we're talking about flat Earth, in this context, we're talking about the surface of the Earth not having any curvature over distance, right? Flat is not a shape, right? So we're not really making a claim like that. A lot of people have the wrong idea about what flat Earth means in the first place, right? A lot of people see propaganda online and they'll see a disk in space, and people will say, oh, flat earthers are claiming this flat disk and all the other planets around, but they think that this one planet is flat, right? That's not what we're claiming at all. So yeah, we're not making claims about an edge or anything like that.
I see. So if my logic, in my logic, I feel that if Earth is flat, it should be a finish, a place where everything finish. There is no more Earth forward.
Yeah, so perhaps. Go ahead.
So we don't deny that there is going to be a limit to this realm. The problem is if you were to ask us where it was, we couldn't tell you. Because like you said before, we don't have the budget for that, nor do we have the means. to find out what the limits are of the Earth. So what we can measure is everywhere that we go, it is measured to be flat, and it is our experience that it is flat and motionless. So the questions that we ask people that believe in the globe, or even the authorities that claim the Earth is a globe, is to show us where it's curving. Well, none of them have brought forth any evidence that the Earth anywhere is curving, nor have they brought us any evidence that the Earth is spinning. And so I would agree with you that there must be a limit. The problem is that we wouldn't know how to do that or find it. But everywhere that mankind lives, he measures and treats the Earth and exists on it. Even the people that make your maps, even the people that create topography type maps, measure it to be flat. They measure it according to a horizontal plane. So if all of your maps and the planes that you get on and the people who build upon the Earth are treating the Earth as a flat and stationary plane, why would we agree or believe that it's spinning and round when nobody experiences that or measures it?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. And another thing that came to my mind is, if I'm able to like fly, let's say I can fly in a low level flying, not too high. If I fly just directly without an end, where in some point I will came to the same beginning point, or maybe after a month, I will never touch again the beginning point, right? If I will never will be able to touch the beginning point, that means I'm just flying direct in a flat manner. No round is right. You get me?
Yes. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So the problem is that nobody, as far as we understand, has made a circumnavigation flight path around the Earth. People fly, and even in commercial flights, go from point to point, city to city, airport to airport. And so nobody has actually flown around any globe. Does that make sense? So this has not been done. I understand that in your mind you would go, well, but if I got on a plane and I went east, I would end up where I started. The problem is nobody has actually ever done that.
Yeah. So that's where things get like little. You can make some arguments there, and you can get another perspective from the Earth, right? So I was just curious how to like push the argument limit around this flat Earth and everything. Yeah.
Right. So one thing that we have that's a little bit more condemning is that it's been made publicly available to everybody, black box data or flight data from some of these planes that commercially fly from point to point. And what's interesting about those particular sets of data is that the plane always flies 2 to 3 degrees above horizontal. So the instrumentation on the airplane is reading out that the plane itself is always maintaining an altitude and a pitch above a horizontal plane or a horizontal datum created by the instruments on the plane. So if the planes are actually recording that they are flying above horizontal, what would it matter whether we end up where we started or not? The plane is always flying level and flat.
I see. There is another interesting argument there.
Right.
Yeah. It's an argument that makes you think twice about this Earth thing. It's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. The fact that nobody ever really experiences any curvature, ever.
You see?
Even the unbiased instruments on the plane, right? Because you can't force a mechanism to be biased. So the instrument just does what it does, and it records 2 degrees above horizontal for about 1,000 miles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And how this flat Earth can be relate with the Earth not having like a. I mean, sorry for my English. I don't have the right words to translate this or to convey this exactly. That
It's okay, man. That's why you're here. You're here to practice your English. So go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So my thing was what I'm thinking is that there is another argument about Earth, which is like not an argument. It's like a history which you can go to the center of the Earth, but the center of the Earth is just
Mr.
nothing
Diablo?
there. Yeah.
Are you talking about Hollow Earth?
I don't know the right term for that, but maybe it is.
That's fair.
But it's related to going to the center of the Earth, and there is nothing in there, and makes like no existence. And how this like center of the Earth will be related to the flat Earth?
It doesn't. It doesn't. The hollow Earth idea or theory, whatever you want to call it, is not related to flat Earth. All that we are here for is to help people understand that a handful of things. Number one, if we were told that the Earth is a globe, the measurements of that globe don't exist, and that's true because we have yet to find a direct measurement of curvature of the Earth. Okay. Number two, as far as we can tell, the Earth is stationary. So everything that we do on Earth, we do according to the Earth being stationary. There's no measurement of movement as far as an axial rotation or the other three vectors that we would have to deal with as far as our solar system and the galaxy that we're in, and then ultimately the universe that we're supposed to be hurtling through. None of those have been measured by anybody. Don't just ask us, but see if you can actually find any measurements of those particular vectors or rotations. Number three, and this is going to be the one that probably will make you puzzle, is that the idea that the Earth is an open system to a vacuous space or an extremely low pressure environment called space that is supposed to be anywhere between 10 to the negative 6 to 10 to the negative 17 torr does not exist because we have gas pressure on the Earth. Okay, so these are all things that we discuss. Anything about hollow Earth or concave Earth, there are people out there that talk about concave Earth, or even an upward rising Earth. It's flat, but it's going in an upward direction. We have no affiliation, no connection, no attachment to any of those claims. We're just talking about the surface and what we experience.
Okay, interesting. Okay. So another thing came to my mind is that recently, from where I am, we are experiencing some similar to earthquakes, low degree earthquakes, like tremors, some degree, low degree. Excuse me. Yeah, and it came to my mind how an earthquake will develop if Earth is flat, because of these instruments they measure that the earthquake starts at very, very profound or deep inside the Earth, which I assume they see the Earth as a globe, and they measure how deep this movement is starting, right? So yeah, and so my mind say, if Earth is flat, how do you can measure how deep these earthquakes are starting, right?
Sure. So the instruments that they use to determine essentially earthquakes, primary waves, P waves, and S waves, secondary waves, these are all reliant on a planar geometry. So they are trying to measure angles essentially that are in relation to a horizontal plane. So if they experience a tremor or a vibration in the Earth's surface, they will be using instruments that calculate or determine the angle at which those particular vibrations occur. So they're using a flat Earth to determine where these vibrations are coming from. Does that make sense? So, number one, I need to kind of cover this. We don't know what's happening essentially eight miles deep below the surface, because, I don't know, 30 years ago, the Russians decided they were going to dig a really deep hole. So they bored as far as they could determine to bore with all the technology that they had, and they couldn't make it past about 7.8 miles deep. And if you're of the in kilometers, I don't know quite what that is. Let's say it's somewhere in the ballpark of like 13 to 14 kilometers deep in the Earth. So we actually don't know what happens below 8 miles or 14 or 15 kilometers. Okay? So any determination about the vibrations of the Earth, the tremors, the earthquakes, is all going to be determined using a flat plane measurement as far as the angles at which they receive those vibrations. And we also don't know what happens below 8 miles. So the Earth is supposed to be in radius 3,959 miles, nearly 4,000 miles. And we couldn't make it past 8. So there's no way to determine what happens past 8 miles.
Yeah. So you're saying like this Russian experiment, they dig a hole so long that they find like a stop, or they won't be able to go even deeper?
No, they made it to about 7.6 to 7.8 miles below. Now listen, 7 miles is a long ways underground. Like let's not poo-poo the idea that they actually went that far. Okay, that's a great achievement. However, as soon as they reached a certain limit, their tools could not work anymore. So they couldn't actually drill past that point. Why or for what purpose there is, but at about 8 miles, they couldn't go any further. So they stopped. And so that's all that we know. The idea that there is a crust and then a mantle and then a core, all of that is pure speculation. Nobody has any idea about any of that. On top of that, if that would only exist if the Earth was a giant gumball or gobstopper that had, that it was round. The problem is that we actually don't have any measurements that the Earth is round. So they drilled 7 miles deep. That would be a descension or down, all in relation to a horizontal plane. And so they failed at 8 miles. And so anything after that is just an idea. It's sort of a fairy tale.
Oh, interesting. I see. Yeah. But the Russians have like they want to see until which deep they can go, or they wanted to, or they expect to pop up maybe in another surface in another country, maybe, I don't know.
Well, I don't know what their ultimate objective was, to be honest with you. They attempted to dig as deep as they could. Now that depth is once again, I have to reiterate this, that depth is in relationship to horizontal. Because you don't really, I don't want to say something incorrect, but depth is still usually in relation to horizontal. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with a sphere. So they dug as far as they could down, right? And they didn't make it any farther than that. I don't know what their objective was. They did try to bring along some equipment to measure P waves and S waves, and then they wanted to predict what layer they would hit once they began to dig further. But it's interesting that all of their sonogram equipment that was trying to determine what they would hit next was incorrect. So they said, well, at this layer, we're going to go ahead and measure through sonogram, essentially vibrations, to see what we're going to hit next. And they would dig, and they were incorrect. So it was kind of I would say it was a failed test, but at very least, they made it 8 miles, which is no small, task. That's a pretty good achievement. 8 miles is a long ways.
Very, very impressive. I never hear of that kind of experiment. If I keep my mind curious, and if I do the same experiment, I will try to in some crazy way, I want to expect maybe if I will dig here, maybe my instrument digging will pop up in the surface, maybe on China or maybe on another place, right? So
Well,
yeah,
if that was the case, well, yeah, that's the thing. If the Earth was the ball, that might be an objective that you could achieve. But
yeah.
for the Earth to be a ball, the Earth would have to be curving. And so, after this discussion, a couple of things I would encourage you to kind of research. Number one is this expedition, or it's not an experiment, but this endeavor to dig as far as you can. It's called the Kona Super Deep Bore. So Kona, Kona. Okay, look that up.
I'm watching somebody share a link in the chat, and yeah, I will dig up about it. Yeah.
Right. The other thing I would encourage you to look for, and do this, please, and then come back, is to find out if anybody has ever just measured the curvature of the Earth. Now, if you find that, come back and talk to us about it. But we've been asking for, well, actually, we've been asking for millennia, thousands of years. If anybody has actually measured the curvature of the Earth, but nobody has come forth with any measurement that doesn't include some kind of assumption. So what we need is a direct measurement of the Earth's surface for curvature. If you find that, you won't see us anymore.
Yeah, no, I see, yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting, good research to dig on. Yeah, guys, thanks for sharing some perspective with me. I was never get into flat earth arguments or anything, and I won't be disrespectful about it or anything. And yeah, I was like any other person curious about it. Listen to what people know about it, and just listen to its arguments.
Yeah, man. Listen, Diablo, you've been great. Thank you for coming in. Please come back. We're happy to talk to you. If you decide to do any research, come back and tell us what you find, and we'll have a conversation about it, because you've been reasonable, and we're going to have a great conversation, I'm sure, in the future. So thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you to you. Thank you to all of you guys too. I will keep reading about this deep experiment hole. It looks interesting, very intriguing.
Yep. Very interesting, for sure. All right, brother.
Okay.
Nice talking to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bro. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.
See you guys. Cheers.
It's all right. You don't have to be embarrassed about the topic or embarrassed about your English. We're pretty patient, 24/7. But yeah, the question stands. How do you know it's a globe? How do you know what they've been telling you matches reality? Or have you ever thought of it before? Might not have. I know it really didn't cross my mind until I was looking up the Mayan calendar. I was like, whoa, they thought it was flat, and you start realizing the Inca and all these other cultures have these stories too, and not stories about a globe. And then you dig deeper. You really test for yourself. I don't know. I think some of us were kind of lucky to kind of be early on globe believers, if you will, putting the globe to the test, because now it seems like a lot of our generations are bombarded by information, in the internet, and they don't even go outside. I don't blame them, especially in Texas, super hot. But it is kind of weird, because I used to skateboard and just get drenched in my my own sweat, and find a water fountain, skate some more, and just go to town. My parents were a little different too, and I guess it was a different time. You come back at sundown, and if you didn't come back at sundown, you got spanked.
You were up to no good.
Exactly, no good happens at night. But yeah, so I mean, one thing led to another. When you're pretty hands-on, even growing up, I think that's why a lot of the older generations have actually found probably flat Earth, and they're probably just not outspoken because they can't work Discord. I'm just kidding, but
You're probably right, though.
but there's probably so many people, that are really just, they know it too, and they're bombarded by the same thing, and they've decided to do different things. They're like, you know what, I'm moving out of this place. I'm getting out of here. Or they're making better decisions or investing in different things, investing their time in different places, all because they're objectively looking at information in a new way, right? And not just a new way, maybe new to them, but in a very empirical and honest way. One that you and I can both test for ourselves. I don't have to believe you and you don't have to believe me, but we can test it together, right? We can go measure the height of that building. We can go see the flat level horizon and how it's apparent, right? And not an actual physical place where you're like, oh man, here it is. There's the line. And we're going over it. Yeah. It's not like a roller coaster, We're going to reach this, fictitious tangent that you think is there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, they told you the globe from before you could barely even sometimes talk, before you could read. There it was, spinning in the classroom. There it was on TV. There it was in the newspaper. There it was in 1927 for Universal Studios, and they put a plane going around it. But it's been constantly reinforced. So can you really blame them?
Yeah, there's tons of shit you can find with the blueprint map. Like, here's Mount Charleston, but like you could see all the tunnels inside of it.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. This one goes all the way here. See, this is supposed to be a mountain, and then there's tunnels underneath it. There's a school there with tunnels that connect to it. It's fucking weird, bro. Yeah.
Schools.
It connects all the way up to these different canyons, all the way up to Indian Springs and Creech Air Force Base. Like, the tunnels go all the way through.
Get the fuck.
Yeah. All these are tunnels that connect all the way back to that school, by the way. Just saying. Anyway, I just want to show you real quick.
There you go. That's the only one. Yeah, that's the only one I had ever heard of.
We got another one the other day on politics server who claimed he was taught the Earth was flat in Israel in school, in modern day.
Wow.
No kidding.
That one.
Did he give his age?
No, I didn't think about going into that. We went straight into the flat Earth topic.
Okay. But was he implying like in recent or like 50, 60?
Well, he sounded like he might have been like 40 years old, maybe.
Okay.
It was some kind of religious school.
Interesting.
They basically taught the Hebrew cosmology.
Okay, gotcha. Damn.
The funny thing is he didn't believe it because he learned that in his school and then later went on to high school and all the other stuff, and then it was like, well, I believe in the globe now because that's what everybody else believes. And I asked him, like, well, what did they teach you about this? And he was just like, just what the Bible says and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, so there was no scientific basis. And he was like, no. So it's not like it was good flat earth education. It was just like more like of a religious school than a normal school. More emphasized on the religion.
Everybody knows this is the only real flat earth school. 24/7.
You got it.
But yeah, that makes sense. That it would be more like almost like a Catholic school, at least that we have here, and they like kind of teach the Bible, but like.
Yeah, when I was young, I had one class was what I call Christian class, and the next class was like science class, and in one class they were like, yeah, God created the world and all this stuff, and and talking about Jesus, and then the next class it was, well, the world wasn't created by God, and like it was so contradictory that it made me go like, why am I listening to these idiots?
Did you ever go like, were they ever like, oh, those guys in the other room? Don't listen to them. Big Bang.
No, I didn't pay much attention to either at the time. It took like my first years of schooling, I didn't pay much attention in school at all. I had other things to deal with at home. And then later, after I got out of that mess, I went back and tried to finish more of it. But I'm going to bed. I'm trying to fix my USB, and it requires the restart of my computer. So I'll see you guys later.
Dangerous. Take care, man. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to listen to Astronomical, but it really is a lot better if you kind of just join in the conversation. I mean, nobody's going to come out of the screen and attack you for what you believe, I can assure you. And I can show you most of us, except Ildiko, we're all taught this globe too, right? From a very early age. We know the stories, and we actually know the globe really, really well. I mean, we even know like the changing stories throughout the years, and to be fair, we can even help you understand some things about the globe that obviously don't work, right? And how we came about to find, because it's not a belief, right? We don't believe that the Earth is flat. We have realized that the Earth is not a globe, right? Through testing, right, over and over again for this curvature that a globe would need to have, right? However, it's more of a realization. It's more of a shedding of beliefs, if you will. But yeah, if you'd be interested in chatting with me, I could tell you all about it. And I'm sure there's, plenty of testimony here as well. But yep, it is a flat topographical plane. I mean, there's no reason to leave. I mean, the first stage is what? Denial is like shock, right? You're like questioning everything. Don't worry, there's a couple more stages. It's all right. I know the first question is like, is this real? No way. It's 2025 and people think the Earth is flat? No. There's actually a large population that know it's flat. And there's probably a lot of believers too that have never tested things themselves, but maybe another story. But yeah, I would say it's knowledge you can obtain for yourself. It's there for the taking. And by golly, it even makes the world that much more beautiful. At least in one man's opinion. I don't know about you guys, but I remember in coming to this realization that I just enjoyed nature so much more. I mean, it's such a higher respect, It definitely felt good. I don't know. Maybe you already have that already. Maybe you're very connected with nature and you watch the sun and the moon every day and the stars like I do now, especially when I can. Maybe you're just a little more in tune, right? Like fortunate. Notice the word tune is in fortunate, right? Tune it. Fort, tune it. Like a tuning fork. Resonating with each other. And when they don't, they don't vibrate. And when they do, even a good distance apart, So.
Another interpretation of that etymology, if you will. The word fortunate, the prefix fort, right, in French is fort, or it's pronounced fort, which means strong. So however you want to wrangle that, pretty sure you can make a connection one way or the other.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I definitely don't think words are random. They're definitely well designed, and they even get mixed into the culture. I mean, maybe not words like Riz, but Starfort. When you look at that word, or planet, right? What is a planet? Why is it that you add a T to plane and it becomes planet? Or why did it come from the word planetos? And why did it actually mean wandering star, but they had to make sure to teach you that it was a gas ball out in the middle of a place that doesn't exist? You might have that question too. I mean, you're thinking to yourself, I mean, you know, if you're globally listening anyway, you're like, why would they lie? You know?
Yeah, I think the word planet's interesting too, because what was it in Greek where it translates to wandering star?
Planetos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in most languages, yeah, any word with a suffix et, or at least, like for example, in French, ette, pronounced the same, but you know, extra letters, is the feminine version of the thing. So a plane, you know, or a planette, it would be a masculine plane, planette, feminine, right? Or I think in other languages, it kind of refers to a smaller version of the initial word. So you have a plane, and you have a planette as a small plane. You know, it's like depending on the language, of course. So
right.
Yeah, it's kind of funky stuff. Word magic, you know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can mix and match a lot of things. You can go with English, French, and all those kinds of things. But I mean, that's something that this community I've always appreciated about embracing the definition of words, defining terms, and reaching the same level. You know, no pun intended, because we've even had hours and hours of argumentation of what does level mean in 2025. But maybe it's necessary. Maybe even such a place as an English server where you're learning English for the first time and you're looking at the word level and you're going, that's weird. It's the same frontwards as it is backwards, right? Like they're just trying to say something with the word. Or maybe you look into, I don't know, American Sign Language and you look up the symbol for Earth and you put out your hand like a flat plane and you put your other hand like a dome. Not to say that, you know, that's a claim, but it is interesting that of all the shapes, that if you were trying to make a globe, you know, with your hands, I don't know, right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get lost in the sauce that way and put two and two together, but I feel like, you know, consciousness, in my opinion, is trying to tell me something too, you know, maybe trying to tell us all something. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I don't listen, but when I did, you know, it led me to topics like flat Earth, you know. I was able to put my beliefs aside for a second to entertain a new idea. And that, my friend, is closer to the definition of intelligence, right? When you can entertain an idea without necessarily jumping on board and just being an auto believer, right? Which I don't think any of us were, especially in this room.
You know, a lot of people have a lot of the same questions.
Yeah. Even I have the same question. Like, we have like a lot of evidence to support that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, a lot of evidence to support it's flat for sure.
So, do you guys still think it's flat? Like,
oh, did you mean to say you think you have a lot of evidence for a globe?
Yeah. I was saying, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, there's none of that unless, I mean, you're welcome to try. I mean, what do you think proves a globe?
Like, they literally have astronauts who travel to outer space.
Which ones? Because some of them actually say that they didn't. And that actually there's one Polish astronaut that said, no, the Earth is flat. So, I mean, you're going to have to be specific. Is there a certain astronaut saying that the Earth is a globe?
Yeah, I think a lot of scientists are saying that.
A lot of scientists. I mean, is this even a science question or geometric question?
Well, till now, I'm not able to, find the difference whether you're being sarcastic or you're like truly supporting.
Oh no, I'm really not being sarcastic. It's not a science question, right? The shape of something, anyway. Now, don't get me wrong. The globe was taught to us in science class, right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's why you probably think it's science, and I thought it was science too. But it's not. You know, the shape of something is, of course, geometry. So it's going to be kind of hard to debate something that could be objective, right?
I mean, it either is or it isn't. So I guess I'm wondering, how do you know it is a globe? Are you saying pictures?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures. I know how satellites and GPS works. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. How does it work?
Well, I have a question for you. Like,
okay,
what do you guys like think how the eclipse works? You know, the lunar or solar eclipses work on flat Earth model.
I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't even work for the globe.
Well,
did you know about a Selenilian eclipse? It's known as the impossible eclipse because, well, it shows the sun and the moon above the horizon of the Earth at the same time. Which, in order to have a 180, right, synergy of which the alignment, right, I was taught the same story, right? You know, the alignment of the sun, the Earth, and the moon, and then, of course, the casting of a curvilinear shadow, right? But the truth of the matter is, you've never gone there to verify that it is a shadow in the first place, or the curve that supposedly that shadow is casting. I mean, don't you think the Earth would have to be curved in order to have a curvilinear shadow?
Okay, so you believe that Earth has an edge, then?
Not necessarily. I mean, I could ask you the same thing. Do you believe your universe has an edge? Or is it ever expanding and you'll never reach it? Or verify it, for that matter?
What I know, it is kind of expanding.
Right, but have you ever been there? Do you know anything about it besides the story they told you?
Yeah, I've only read. I'm not like I haven't been to space. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like if I showed you a picture of a horse, right? You'd be like, okay, well, I've seen horses in real life. I've maybe pet one before. Yeah, that's definitely a horse, right? I can take a picture of a horse. We can both verify that this horse, is a horse, right? However, if I have a friend who goes, here's a picture of when I was in Narnia or Hogwarts at Harry Potter, right? Well, I can't necessarily go to those places myself, can I? I mean, I'm going to have to take that guy's word for it that he talked to a lion inside of a wardrobe. You know what I mean? And in this case, NASA, RASA, JAXA, ESA, they're all telling us that they can go to this place that nobody else can go in order to verify. Better yet, what's even funny is that the place that they're claiming to go breaks natural law. Tell me, have you ever heard of the word entropy?
Starting with E?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Well, like, say entropy in terms of, say, thermodynamics.
Yeah. I was saying that in terms of thermodynamics.
Correct. Where high pressure
goes degree of randomness. Yeah.
So in this case, the globe claims that it's in an environment where there's nearly no pressure, right? No gas molecules near vacuum. However, how do you breathe air then on a globe? Right? If you have, roughly 14.7 psi gas pressure, you and I breathing in this wonderful dynamic system, how do we have gas pressure next to nearly no gas pressure without containment? Because gas law would state that, of course, PV equals nRT. Volume in this case would have to be the container. And last time I checked, there's not a glass ball or container in this globe paradigm. So how are you breathing right now? If it's a globe. Even what the globe claims? What do they claim? How are you breathing right now on the globe? Why isn't gas just sucked up into space like every other instance in natural reality? I'll give you a hint. Because there's no outer space vacuum next to us. In fact, I dare you to find a vacuum anywhere, naturally in nature. Just one. Isn't that interesting?
Hello,
and don't worry,
Hello, everyone.
What's going on, man?
So, anyone who believes the Earth is flat with me?
What's your name, man?
Okay, so you can call me Varmion.
Sweet, I like it.
You know what it means?
No, what does it mean?
It's a name derived from the Old Latin. It means fart kisser.
Well, I'm sorry that you were named that.
It is not my name. It is an alias I gave myself.
Gotcha. I'm just messing with you,
You
man.
know why?
What's going on? Why do you think you live on a globe?
Well, okay. So I've walked across the Earth once, maybe twice. I forgot. And when I
No
was
curvature, I know,
walking
man.
across it,
Welcome to Flat Earth.
yes. One caveat I faced is when I got to Russia, I went to the ocean, and when I came back, I was in America. I do not know how. Do you believe the Earth is flat or a continuous time dilation machine? What do you think?
I think that's the worst globe proof I've ever heard in my life.
I didn't say I am a globe believer. I'm one of you. I believe in.
Oh, you don't even have to say it, bro. I know you believe you live on a globe.
Not. I do not believe.
You didn't even have to say it.
Believe in the globe.
That's how good we are, bro.
Believe in a time dilation machine.
Time dilation. Go ahead and explain what that is.
Well, I just explained my own experience and why I came to believe my own beliefs. But
Okay.
you can
Well,
continue.
you're entitled to your own beliefs, man. But I'm not claiming that I believe in Flat Earth.
This voice channel. I want to listen to
I'm trying to tell you, I don't believe in Flat Earth. I know that it measures flat. Can you believe in your shoe size, or do you measure your foot and know your shoe size?
I don't measure my foot. I measure it in time.
He's been defeated.
I measure time, but I cannot measure it because it is not accurate. It may seem consistent, but in the grand scheme of the universe, time is not constant. Everything else is.
Prove it.
Why should I prove something that is true to me?
Because bold claims require, extraordinary evidence.
Extraordinary claims. Fire could be normal to us, but fire could be extraordinary to a caveman. As they invented it, they do not know what it is.
Come back to reality, bro.
It is something made billions of years ago by our ancestors. But the Earth is not something man-made. It is not something man-made. It is built off of something we do not know.
Question for you: was space discovered or invented?
We cannot prove. Can you prove the Earth existed before us?
Yeah.
No, you cannot. Without any concrete evidence. What do you have to say about that? You have nothing. You have nothing to say about that. I have asked my mother once. I do not have a father. He died when I was 5. When I was an orphan. I talked to your mother. I know who you are. You are my half sibling. I fuck your mother. And now I'm your stepfather.
Hey, dude, chill out, dude. Hey, dude, sir, listen. We're here to talk about the topic of the room, which is Flat Earth, my friend. So if you're not interested, you're welcome to leave because I don't want to have to mute you and then you can't go to other VC. So if you want to talk about the topic, let's talk about it. If not, you're free to leave.
Oh, sorry, sir. We can talk about the flat Earth. Okay, FlatLloyd. Why do you believe flat Earth is real?
I don't. I know it is.
Why is it real? Can you prove it?
Yes, look outside. There's no curve.
God, I see a sphere. I see a ball in my hands. I see my penis. I see my balls. I see my testicles.
You always always turn into a degenerate. You guys love balls, don't you?
Exactly. Life is made out of the.
Yeah, he made the other dude leave. The other dude sound more coherent than this guy.
It is only about the tone of voice that changed the minds of the population. Look at Donald Trump, for example. He is a very interesting man, but I do not know if he believes in the spherical world. Or
who cares about Donald Trump, dude? Who cares?
Who gives a shit what he thinks?
Not me. I do not care. I only care about the flat earthers because I love them so much. They're so interesting.
Yeah, we love you too, dude. We love you too.
They believe in truth. I do not love you.
You got any globe evidence?
You're talking back to me. I do not love you. I love everyone else.
Are you okay, dude? You need medical assistance or something?
Sounds like
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't need medical assistance. Why should I? I believe in the
Yeah,
truth.
we'll send them your way. But yeah,
Send
dude,
them
like
my
let's
way.
talk about
Send
the
them
globe
my
proof. Do you have
way.
any globe proof?
I didn't say I believe in the spherical world. I told you I believe in the time dilation theory. But I love to listen to others about their own proofs, about what they believe and what they know is the truth. Because the truth is what they believe for themselves. There is no definitive proof. It is what we, as a humanity, as individuals, believe.
Yeah, like the
What we
globe.
know is true. You talk so much about the globe. Are you a
Yeah,
globe
most people just
believer?
blindly believe in. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You're someone who talks a lot about a globe Earth for someone who's
Yeah, we're
supposed
trying
to
to
be
find
a
globe
flat
proof.
earther.
That's why we're here.
Well, I
We're
can't
trying to
give you
find
proof
globe
because
proof.
I
That's
don't
why we're here.
believe in the globe
Okay.
Earth. I believe in the time
All right, I guess
dimension.
we're on the same page. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Why is it a flat Earth then? You believe it is true, but could it be true?
Dude, it's not a belief, dude. Did you hear what FlatLloyd was saying
Say
earlier?
it's a belief.
Did you pay attention, my friend? Did you pay attention at all?
To everything. I pay attention to everything. I know art, and I do not know
FlatLloyd, listen, if you still want to talk to this guy, go for it. If not, then yeah, he's gonna be out of here.
Okay. Bye. It is very
Later,
interesting
Felicia.
meeting you.
Bye.
Bye. It is
We'll see you
Valosa.
later. I know you'll be back.
Yeah. The pain is just too much, man. They can't stand it.
Compilation. What does that even mean, dude? This guy watched too many sci-fi movies and series.
For real. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, the other guy, he was actually pretty cordial. You know what I mean? Lalu, something like that. The one he just
Yeah, that
left
guy was
earlier.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back. But that's why those guys kind of come in there. They see something of like actually inquiring and they turn into Agent Smith. Say anything but disproving my reality.
I mean, he even scared to claim a position, right? Which is the globe. Yeah. You know, maybe he's seen a lot of the debates, or watched Flat Earth content before, that he knows there is no direct evidence for the globe. That's why he was scared to claim a position.
Look at that. The room has such class. A moment of silence for the departed, unfortunately dead globe.
Hello, is this for real? Like, flat Earth? Do you really think we live in a flat Earth?
No, I really know, right? So
You
for
really know.
instance,
You know.
do you believe in your shoe size, or do you measure it and you know your shoe size?
It changed over time.
Right, but it's going to stop, right? Or you're I mean, how would you verify that? You'd have to keep measuring it, maybe over time.
Not measurement, but shoe size. The shoe size that I used to wear, it don't fit anymore. So that's why I know.
Right. And you had to verify it, right? You didn't just like, oh man, I'm going to go to the shoe store. I think I wear an 8. Yeah, I wore a 7, but I'm thinking my foot's a little bigger. And you just buy the shoe, you don't even try it on.
I tried both. The one that I was supposed to wear, and then
You verify
it didn't fit. So I go for the next number.
Well, guess what happened when we tried to verify the globe geometry? It didn't fit. It didn't match the prediction. And guess what? We went to another spot on Earth, and we had tons of people actually start to find the curvature of this globe claim that NASA and RASA and JAXA give us. And guess what? It didn't fit. Now, that doesn't magically tell us the shape of the Earth, because flat is not a shape. It's a surface property, sometimes of a shape, right? You can have a flat penny, right? For instance, flat and round aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, right? I know that's a $high word for English, but they don't necessarily need to be connected to each other, right? You can have a flat record, right? That is both round and flat. You can have a penny that's both round and flat. What we're trying to tell you is that flat Earth is not a shape claim. Nobody thinks it's a disk in space. Don't get me wrong, I know why you're laughing. Because if you type in flat Earth in Google, right, it shows a ridiculous image of like a weird little pizza or like a, I don't know what that thing is, right? But it's floating out in space. And I can assure you that outer space vacuums are not real. They actually break the second law of thermodynamics known as entropy, in which we observe high pressure go to low pressure always. So you got to ask yourself, how are you breathing 14.7 psi gas pressure, the air that you and I are breathing? How do we breathe that if supposedly this air pressure is right next to a near vacuum? Wow, the one instance in history where suddenly entropy forgot to be entropy, right? Why isn't the gas just sucked off into space? Do you know what the globe has the answer?
What?
Do you know why the gas that you and I are breathing isn't sucked off into the vacuum of space?
It has different density.
It is true, yeah, we do have a gradient. But the gradient alone doesn't magically stick to Earth, right?
It's like,
they got a
I know
special
if
word
it's the
for it.
same. I know if it's the same, but why it's colder out in the space if we are closer to the sun than here in the Earth? It's not something similar?
Not quite. I think what you're trying to say is like if you increase in altitude, that it's going to get colder. Is that what you're trying to say? Even though you're actually getting closer to the sun and have less atmosphere supposedly, and you should be getting hotter.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's nothing protecting you. Those little tin cans that we call satellites are melting out there in the thermosphere. It doesn't make much sense, does it? You'd think something made out of aluminum would actually melt at the temperature that we all know that it melts at. But it doesn't. And you'd think, we'd have some more proof. I mean, it would actually be pretty simple to prove a globe, right? I mean, if it is the said geometry that it is, right, of say what, I don't know, they claim 3,959 mile radius. Now, that's a pretty extraordinary claim because, well, that means you measured it, right? I mean, who measured in any time in history the curve of the Earth? Anybody? Not just Sam? We don't have to just ask Sam. And you think that would be the first thing they taught you about the globe? It was so and so, and we have a statue dedicated to them on every continent. You'd think there'd be more hype, right? Anyway, just asking. Anybody have evidence of why they think they live on a globe? Because that's a real question. What makes you think you live on a globe? The professors? I'm a professor. I'm not telling you it's a globe. How about the television? Television tells you it's a globe. Doesn't make it real either. I mean, I see King Kong on the television too. I see Superman flying through the sky. We can even do the math for Superman and how much or how fast or, mathematical models for lots of things. But it still doesn't make it reality. Huh. Perhaps we bit off more than we can chew just because, well, everybody else was taught it. Therefore, it must be true. A logical fallacy if I've ever heard one. The truth of the matter, Sam, is you probably haven't even thought about it yet. Or even questioned the globe in your entire life. I know I didn't.
But why, if it's flat, then what's with that? Like, how it changed our
Well, you
life?
gotta ask yourself, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it probably doesn't change much because if you go outside, guess what? Nothing changed. It's still the exact same Earth. But what did change was actually you and the way that you perhaps look at information, right? And decide whether something should be true or not true, at least even according to you, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know how important truth is to you, but what if I promised you $1,000 or, I don't know, $1 million a month, right? But I only gave you $10 a month. Would that be okay? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I guess.
Or would you call me a liar and be like, hey, you said you'd give me $1 million a month?
Yeah.
Right. You'd be kind of mad that somebody's telling you they're going to give you something and they maybe do the opposite, maybe don't. Right. And what if next month came, right? And they said, don't worry, I know I gave you $10 last month, but I'll give you $1 million this month. And what if they gave you $10 again? Are you going to trust maybe that they're going to give you that money?
No.
Probably not, right? And to be fair, don't get me wrong, this isn't a trust issue with like authority, because it's not, right? To be fair, there's certain authorities in your life. I think my parents are a pretty good one of my authorities. Yeah, I don't listen to everything they say, but I do, I do take their information to heart. However, in this case, NASA, RASA, JAXA, they have a claim, a geometric one about this globe. And if you tested it over and over again and you found that there was no curvature, well, what would that make the surface of Earth? It would make it flat. Again, does it magically tell us, is it lake-shaped? Is it the shape of Pikachu? No, we don't know, right? Measuring the surface doesn't magically tell you what the shape of something is. In fact, the only claim to shape here is a globe, because that one is a shape. It's a sphere, right? But looks like we have a couple more. Go ahead, Scott. What's going on?
Sorry, are you pro flat Earth or are you proving the Earth is a sphere?
Oh no, I've tried to prove that it was a sphere a long time ago. It's definitely not.
Why do you think that is?
Because I actually put the globe to the test, like many of us have.
So you actually believe the Earth is flat?
No, I know that it is flat. It's a realization, not a belief.
Okay, just one small question then. Then why do satellites and basically every for multiple different countries, we are all here. Not like I'm from India. You might be from somewhere like Europe or maybe in the West. We have Chinese satellites as well. All of them, this entire the orbit of these satellites, be it the geostationary orbit or the or just the ISS even. All of them are taking circles around the Earth. I'm not finding the exact word. English is not my first.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like what about satellites? Absolutely. I've got something actually in the side chat for you. These are all the different kinds of satellites and the high altitude technology that we have, above the sky. Yeah, or sorry, above the Earth, right? You don't necessarily need a globe in order to have a satellite, right? So for instance, you can have drones that stay up there for 90 days now, right? You can have balloon communications. However, 98% of all data, like the internet me and you are talking through right now, is underwater sea cable, not a satellite at all.
No, yeah, that is fine. But if we talk about the ISS live, they do so like you can see the live camera feed from the ISS watching towards Earth. So now you might be saying that when you look at one picture, it seems to you as a circle, right? Because you're seeing a circle from a higher point of view, and you can't completely see the even that particular circle itself because you're very close to the circle itself. So, but what happens then when they're moving around the Earth, they take multiple pictures, right? And then in the same orbit, after they've orbited the Earth completely, they reach back to the same picture. That should prove that they've crossed the entire Earth, right? And that's when they're reaching the same picture again.
Yeah, you would think so, except the curve doesn't actually show a curve. It shows like a parabola, which already should be a red flag. Right? You have the Chinese space station. Did you know they have one too? They actually show a perfectly flat Earth. So you get a lot of actually inconsistency when it comes to the ISS. And don't get me wrong, I've seen the ISS tracker and I've actually looked for it myself in a telescope, right? However, you'd have to ask yourself, even if you did see something in the sky and it was tracked, does that mean what you saw was what it is?
But why would anyone lie about this, right?
Well, I mean, don't jump to conclusions. Maybe they just believe the lie too. Maybe they're just propagating a lie that they were taught. Maybe the original liar's dead. To be fair, people lie for all kinds of reasons. Maybe to control you. Maybe to make sure that you keep giving them $60 million a day in the U.S. and other countries like India. I mean, they're taking your money.
Sorry if I interrupted you. Can I ask a question?
Oh, you're good, man.
Thank you, Mister. My question is like, what difference would it make whether if Earth was flat or round in tax evasion? Like, not tax evasion, but in how the taxes work. Like, my question is, I don't think it would really lying about Earth being flat or being round wouldn't really make a big difference. I personally believe
Sure,
that
yeah.
Earth is
I mean,
round.
how do you know what you don't know?
It is true, but when we look at it, I mean, we need reasons. That's why, like we say, when we are talking, we use facts to validate
Absolutely.
what we say. So my question is, if you want to say Earth is flat, because I'm assuming right now we are saying Earth is flat, and we are assuming that the government is lying to us, right? Is that what I should assume?
Well, don't get
because
me wrong. The story is wrong. Somebody who's lying actually has to cognizantly know that they are lying. They would have to know the truth and say the opposite, right? That would make a liar. Somebody who's just propagating information and they believe it too isn't necessarily lying.
Oh, you're saying that they don't know themselves either, right?
Yeah, they could just be propagating the story. People spread lies all the time and don't even know it. Right? You maybe heard that thing that you were eavesdropping, that so-and-so was getting together with so-and-so, but they weren't really, but you heard it and you started spreading that information. You thought it was true. You just believed it.
Well,
you didn't actually know. You just overheard.
That is actually, that is actually true. That could be a possibility. But to be honest, it's a matter of fact which one is more believable. Because if you want to look at that, then I could say that I think all the religion and all the prophets were actually people from future. Because that could also be possible because they don't know themselves. Maybe they were mind controlled. Maybe they were designed. Maybe they were robots. There's
Sure,
a lot of.
maybe.
My point is that there's a lot of possibility that we can go for. Also, I'm just saying, but there's also no problem with these conversations. Like these conversations are just, in my opinion, are fun. And there's no problem in looking at all these possibilities. But what I'm trying to say is that I think it's better to believe something that is more believable and can be proved by more facts.
Do you know what the definition of belief is?
I might be wrong. What is your definition of belief? In my definition, is something that can be proven by facts, or at least by nature of humans, by feelings, maybe.
So what is knowledge then? Is there a difference between knowledge and belief for you?
Yes. Belief could be wrong.
Right. Well, a belief would be a knowledge claim without evidence, right? Without empirical, testable evidence, right? You could say, I believe that there's going to be meat at the store when I go there, or sorry, I believe there's going to be rice when I get there at the store, but I don't know that until I get to the store. I ask the manager, hey, you got rice? And they go, yeah, we got rice. Now I know they have rice.
Okay.
But before I had to believe if they do or didn't. I didn't know if they did. I was just believing it that they had rice at the store. Does that make sense?
It is true, but it's also a fact that usually and more likely grocery stores contain rice because they're grocery stores and they usually have it. They're big grocery stores, so it is believable. It is more likely to believe that they have rice.
And that's great. So what about the curvature of this globe? Right, it should always be there, right?
Yeah. I mean,
if it is a curved ball.
When you compare things to daily things we do in life, it is really there are some stuff that you can't say they're completely the same. Like when it comes to Earth shape, how it is shaped and how it is shaped, I believe that it is round because of physics, how the physics is made and what is it made of. Because the whole nature of physics is based on a lot of things in physics, like bombs. Ballistic missiles and a lot of things.
Sure. However, physics is actually more of like science, right? In this case, a shape is not even a science claim; it's a geometric claim. You're not going to test a cause and effect relationship for a shape, are you?
You can't compare these differently. You can't say that shape is mathematics when you're trying to prove the Earth is flat, right? You would also have to corroborate that evidence.
Is mathematics science?
No, but
or does it just use mathematics as a language pattern?
When you're talking about the shape of the Earth, right? In which case you would have to corroborate that with scientific evidence. You can't pull science away from that.
No, you can't science a shape, brother. Go ahead, science and square.
Okay. Let's say like the Earth is flat, right? So what about how?
No. You said you can science shapes. We're gonna have to break down what science is, guys. If you don't know
shapes.
So why do you think Earth is flat? There should be like a reason, like Earth
because it measures that way. And you're gonna have to wait your turn,
Are
sir.
you questioning the obvious? The Earth is flat. What the fuck?
The obvious. Go outside. Where is the globe, bro?
Okay, I have a very simple.
Let's just keep it simple.
Yeah, very simple observation.
Guys, hold on. One at a time, my friend. One at a time. Wait till your turn, then you can ask the question. But right now, FlatLloyd is talking to AK right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a very simple observation, right? Like if you go what explains like the movements of the stars themselves. So like if you go to the northern hemisphere, right, you will see some set of stars. But if you go to the south, those same stars will not be visible to you because they're on the opposite side, right? At that point, because of the shape of the Earth. So otherwise, if like Earth was flat,
consequent
the stars
logical fallacy.
same, right? What?
That's an affirming the consequent logical fallacy.
What is that?
Well, you're fallaciously saying just because you can't see a star in a certain area, you're already pre-assuming a ball.
No. But
instead of actually measuring the surface that you're on.
But if you go
instance,
from north to
imagine a gigantic store, right, where you can't see the other side of the store, right? And imagine you get really low to the ground, right, and you see a certain set of lights, and then you go way miles across to the other side of the store, right, and you see another pair of lights. Does that mean the store is a ball?
No, but when you're trying to move from that, you will start seeing something in the middle, right? Like
yeah, if you pre-assume that you're on a ball in the first place, you're always going to get a ball. Yeah, of course.
Right. But if the Earth was flat, wouldn't you see the same stars? That's the point. Like no matter where you are, you would see the same
outside
stars.
doesn't change, brother. We're not claiming a model. We're claiming outside right now is not a ball.
But you're saying it's flat.
It measures flat.
So if it is flat, then again, like if we assume a flat Earth model, the sky would remain the same, right? Why would the sky move then?
No, the sky does the exact same thing it does for you, brother. You just think it's a globe.
But what explains the movement of the stars then? The stars don't like the universe.
Yeah, the movement of the what's making the stars move? I thought it was supposed to be the globe that was moving.
Yeah.
But it's the stars moving, right? You just said it 3 times actually.
I said in the context of assuming a flat Earth.
You see the stars move.
Yeah, from the Earth you see the stars move, right? So that's only possible.
But, I mean, here's the positive claim. It's actually you that's moving and spinning with the Earth instead of the stationary stars. But how did you prove that? Or is it just a story that you were told from a very young age?
Okay, what about that then? Like, let's say in my country.
Come on, at least address the question, right? I know it's a little bit of a got you, right? But seriously, I'm being quite serious with you. How do you know that you're spinning? Do you feel like you're spinning?
I would farm it if I'm spinning.
And you may want to get checked.
But what happens if a meteoroid strikes then? Like,
sorry, what was that, AK?
Like we are spinning, I believe, from east to west, right? In that circular direction. West to east. Sorry.
That's the direction we see the sky go. Yeah, we see the stars go from east to west, whether we're below the equator or above the equator.
So some guy also mentioned like the Coriolis effect, right?
Yeah.
So it's only possible when we are spinning, right?
Do we even account for a Coriolis effect? When do we account for a Coriolis?
I'm not exactly sure what that is, so it's not my field.
I've actually got a pretty good GIF that explains that pretty well. I'm kind of a visual learner myself. I blame architecture, but if you see it for yourself, you'll realize that it's an apparent phenomenon, right? Because of the vantage point that you're looking from. The reference point is sometimes as it's referred to. But in this case, if you were to maybe change your perspective, you'd realize that what you thought was an apparent force acting upon an object was in fact just an apparent one. But actually I have 2 GIFs for you. As soon as they load, my bad.
Until you send those GIFs, can I ask a question?
Yeah, is anybody else in the chat? I know there's quite a few of us here.
What I'm really wondering right now, like I'm thinking about it, is then what would happen in your opinion, in your belief? How do you explain the ages of why don't we have the ages? Then we should have ages. If the Earth is flat, then we should have some ages. Then
edges. I thought you said ages.
Oh, yeah, my bad. No,
you're good, man.
Ages.
You're good.
Yeah.
Right. Why doesn't it have edges? Well, I don't know. Can you fall off the edge of a lake? Or do you just go to the shore? You can?
When you fall off.
Holy cow, man. Don't go to any lake. You can't fall off a lake, right? You're just going to hit the sand, right? Or the rocks. Who's to say that there is an edge at all, right? I mean, what if I asked you about, what about your edge of the universe? Have you been there?
No, actually, there's a
Do
theory.
you ever think about it?
I thought about it, actually, yes. There's a theory.
And what
It's a
happened?
theory that says...
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's all we can do about places we can't go. We can theorize. But I'm not here to, like, pull anybody's leg here. I'm already telling you that the Earth is flat. I don't want to make some claims that aren't true, right? I really have to watch what I say because, well, I don't want to say something that's not true or can't be proven for yourself. And the edge is definitely not one, right? I don't know if it's infinite or really, 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 really big, or I don't know, maybe it does cut off, right? Just, I don't know.
I mean, to be honest,
I haven't been there. And to be fair, there's an Antarctic treaty that you should look into if you haven't heard of that yet.
No, it was no countries about to.
Because nobody's even allowed to go there without millions of dollars in permitting. And actually, a bunch of countries, right before the forming of NASA, they all decided that this was off limits for the entire Earth.
I mean, when it comes to flat Earth, whether it's Earth being flat or not, it's more of a whether it is more of whether if it is or it isn't. It's not like a personal opinion of someone who may have. So what we're doing here, obviously, that way. What we're doing here, we're just like saying facts and checking facts and just understanding the other people's views. Yeah.
Checking with reality.
If you make an untrue claim, you aren't going to be punished for that. So go on, maybe. I just want to know.
Well, no, I mean, I hold myself to a high standard. I mean, that's just me. Maybe it's the professor and the architect in me. I mean, if I one wrong number, your truss could break, your floor could go through, and there you go. There goes your house.
That's also true.
So you better be objectively true in my profession. And so I treat it with the same amount of accuracy.
You could also see it as a practice, but for me, I see it, I'm just talking to some strangers who I'm trying to present their view. For you, it might be something else. So I can't really talk about that. But what I really wonder is if the Earth is flat, then a lot of things should be explained another way, like the magnetic field, how the carbon dioxide and the global warming works. Because
you need globe for global warming.
Global warming. Global warming.
Or isn't it called climate change now? They took out the globe.
Yeah. Well, it's when the global, we all know because of the carbon dioxide going to the atmosphere and actually blocking the sun, the UV. I think it was called the UV rays. I don't know, the one.
Yeah, I was told the same story. I couldn't verify it. How did you go about verifying it? Did you go back 400 years and you're like, oh shit, it's colder?
Well, well, actually, we measure it. We keep measuring it. We have. So
did you see they're still? Did you see they're still building? The seafront property in Miami. I guess nobody told them that the sea levels are going to rise and they're going to lose all their investments. I mean, I think somebody should probably tell them about climate change. They keep investing billions of dollars into these locations that are supposedly supposed to be underwater 30 years ago.
Well, you know what? You're actually right.
Don't get me wrong. I think somebody's lying, bro. And this is why this is such an important topic, because you won't fall for stuff like that if you objectively know what's going on in reality. But I can't do that for you. That's something you're going to have to test for yourself, right? I can only lead you to the knowledge. You have to think. I can only lead you to water. Can't make you drink.
You're right about that, but the thing is, this is only the thing that can be proven over time, and it has been proven over time. I don't know why they were building, and I think the reason they're still building, investing in Miami, even though it's more likely.
That one kind of got you hung up, huh?
Wait, what?
Keep going.
All right. This is a fact that the sea levels are rising, at least to what we know until now. Well, unless they're lying, which is another story. But
that's
what I don't know is,
and it is a story. You're right.
Yeah, it is a story. It could be a story. It could be fact. We don't know yet. But to my belief, not my belief, but I think it is been proven. Actually, I'm sure about it. It's been proven that the sea levels are rising. I don't know why they're still investing in Miami, even though it's going to be there's more luck that it's going to go underwater in some years. But what I know is that the sea levels are rising, and that's because of the global warming, which is because.
In fact, there's tons of actually pictures of the same location showing that the water is at the exact same level that it was as early as 1820s.
It was different from 1820s. I don't agree with that, to be honest.
Okay, well, you can look into it for yourself.
Me, myself,
like I said, you can believe whatever you like. I'm not here to change any belief. What I'm trying to tell you is the fact, the objective reality, is that we use the Earth as a flat and stationary plane every single day. You've never gone outside and seen curvature, and you never will. You'll never be at the vantage point of what NASA, JAXA, or RASA claims. You'll never be that far out in an outer space claim. And, well, sometimes you just got to rip off the Band-Aid, you know?
I mean, no. When you go to the doctor, you don't know. What
No,
I'm saying.
you don't know, brother.
They say that I am tired to deal with them. I don't want to convince them. I mean, it's their loss to be ignorant.
Right, well.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to believe in a globe and keep spending and paying money, and go for it. I don't care. You're entitled to your belief. But I'm trying to tell you, flat Earth is not a belief. For me, it's not a belief. It'd be like somebody going, "Oh man, I used to believe in Santa Claus, but you know what? I think I'm going to go back to believing in Santa Claus." No, dude.
Sure.
I believed in the globe all my life. And I realized after picking and pulling and testing its claims, it doesn't comport. It doesn't match what we have outside reality. And if you don't know that yet, that's okay. But don't try to project here that I'm the idiot when you're clearly the one who doesn't even know your own globe. Sorry, not the guy I was talking to, but the one who interjected.
What, me?
Yeah. It's your loss.
I never said that you're an idiot. I never said that. I'm just
I
saying.
didn't say you were either. But
No,
I just think it's a bit strange when somebody's trying to tell you some information and I just get all this kind of projection back. And don't get me wrong, it's normal. That's how you were programmed with this globe.
Yeah.
They even programmed you to make fun of flat Earth, right? All those silly people who thought before Christopher Columbus that the Earth was flat. And they made you laugh in second, maybe even first grade. And they made sure to put a spinning ball in the middle or the front of class. And they made sure to show you a globe at the front of every movie or every newspaper or maybe even your first phone. But it's no big deal. Keep buying, keep consuming. What does it matter? I still have to go to work tomorrow. That's what you sound like. When you don't. In fact, if you knew a little bit more, you'd realize you can start your own business. You don't have to work at all. I choose to work because I like working at the university. It's easy. Fun teaching everybody objective reality. But anyway, I'm a little tired, guys. I've been talking for a while, and it's pretty late for me. But you're in good hands. Plenty of genuine flat earthers here. So I bid you adieu.
I wish you a really, really good night, if it is night for you, of course.
Thank you, sir. And honestly, good talking to you, man. Honestly, we're here 24/7. Be glad to talk to you again, man.
Man, I would love to talk to you again. I'm sorry that I didn't pick up all the facts because I didn't know. Also new to the debate stuff, and my English is not
man.
great.
Don't be
so
sorry.
I still need to work for it. So sorry for that. If I
not at all, brother. Dude, you were like squeaky clean, awesome to talk to. Seriously, I think if you stick around for a little while, you're gonna realize the ones that you're like, what is wrong with that guy? And let me tell you, this topic can make usually a globey kind of explode. But hey, everybody's got their own path, you know.
Yeah.
But thanks, man.
All right.
Later, guys.
So, see ya.
All right, later, FlatLloyd. Take it easy, brother.
No.
Moderate? Are you a moderate?
No.
All right, then. I have a question, okay? Would you like to answer?
Go for
Well, if you've got a question, then we can answer.
Okay, so why do you think Earth is flat?
Because it looks that way and it measures that way and we use it that way.
Are you against Earth flat? I mean, are you like... okay, so can you prove that?
Prove what? That we use it that way?
No, like prove Earth is flat.
Yeah, we use it that way.
Nah, so do you think like gravity kind of thing exists?
Oh, what do you mean? Down and up and down? That'd be gravity?
No, I think you are like, trying to troll people.
No troll. So what's your experience of gravity, right?
No,
so
I don't want you give like a reasonable answer, okay?
I will give you a reasonable answer. So your experience of gravity is straight down or straight up, right? Do you agree with that?
No.
Your experience of gravity is not going into the center of a ball, is it?
No, because gravity doesn't exist.
I didn't say that. You just said that. You asked me a question about gravity, and now you're saying gravity doesn't exist. Why'd you ask a question?
Yeah, it's a curvature.
Okay, can you show me? You show me a measurement of curvature, i.e., drop over distance.
All right, so Earth is flat. Okay, so let's assume that. And
I
when
don't know hang on.
it
Chill
creates a
out. Why are
curvature.
you jumping all over the place? You're jumping around a lot. Can we just finish the first thing that you said, right?
All right.
What's your most important question that you want to ask, right, without jumping around a lot?
So does gravity
Start
exists?
there.
If like exists, then
Okay, even if it exists, does that make Earth a sphere?
No.
No. Right. So it's not an evidence for a globe.
So do you think that the Earth is in the center of the universe, and like every star is like spinning around the Earth?
I know it's kind of speculation, but I think that Earth is all there is. To tell you the truth.
What?
There is no space. Space is fake, dude.
Okay, so you believe that there is no space?
Well, put it like this, right? So either there is the vacuum of space, and that would mean that we have a container, or there's no vacuum of space, and then we don't require a container.
No, that's just a hilarious explanation.
What? Why? It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it isn't. It doesn't make any sense.
Why not?
It just doesn't.
Okay, so we have gas pressure, right? The air we breathe, that would be gas pressure.
So, what do you think about the space exploration?
What? No, I want to know. Well, I just told you space doesn't exist. So why would I get into a conversation about space exploration when I just explained to you that space can't exist? And you said, no, that's rubbish. You said that's ridiculous. And I said, why? And you said, because it's ridiculous. So you haven't told me why it's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous because, United States like spending a lot billion of dollars on space exploration.
Because someone says they're spending a lot of money, then that makes it true.
Yeah, that is kind of hilarious. You just said.
What's hilarious about it?
It is because,
because it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's your argument, though, isn't it? All right. You said it's hilarious, and I said why, and you said yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. No, yeah, okay. Your argument is it's hilarious because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's not a very good argument.
I mean, you are the person who's saying like that, okay? Because you're not giving any reason.
Okay, you could ask me. Why.
It exists.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that
you could ask me why I believe that, right?
It's done outside.
Are you going to spiral, or are you going to ask me why I believe that?
All right, then answer why you believe that.
Okay, because we have gas pressure, right? We have gas pressure, which is air that we breathe. Now, if we were directly next to a vacuum of space, then the pressure would equalize, and all the gas would fuck off into space. So
no, that is why we have like atmosphere, okay? And it like act as a silt, okay? So when you like breathe air inside us, it doesn't like go up and like go outside of our Earth. The atmosphere just blocked it.
So that would be gas, containing gas. So have you ever seen, like if you put a vacuum, get two containers and just block it off with like a valve, right? If you suck all the air out of one container and leave the other container at room pressure, then what happens when you open the valve between the two containers?
Well, if
it equalizes, right? So it violently goes into the other one with no pressure. To equalize. So if there was a vacuum next to air pressure with no barrier, then the air pressure would violently equalize into the vacuum of space. There would be no air pressure, there would be no atmosphere, like you said. We can prove this by experiment. Yeah?
Yeah, clarify your experiment then.
You haven't seen that experiment before? to
No,
lower
no, I
pressure and a
haven't seen
higher
that.
pressure? No? I'm driving at the moment, but if anyone's got that meme that they can put into the chat with the high and the low pressure. Oh, there you go.
I got it, bro. I posted.
Kimbo's got it. Boom. High pressure to low pressure. Every time. Every time. No exception. Or Earth is all there is. There is no vacuum of space. We don't require the container. Either or, whichever. I don't mind.
All right.
Not a globe. Yeah, but it's not a globe. In the vacuum of space.
I know the question, okay? So why do like those people who believe in flat Earth have a different perspective?
What do you mean a different perspective?
Yeah, they do have a different perspective. So what do you think about that?
Dude, it's not a belief, my friend. Like, you and I experience the same Earth, right? We observe the same thing. We all observe a flat and motionless topographical plane. That's what you experience, right? So, that's, that would be a starter, right? Something you experience. So it doesn't require any belief at all. Now, that doesn't mean that it's really flat, right? We can actually go out there and test it, right? With the dimension that they gave us, the circumference, diameter, radius, right? We can actually go measure it. And every time we measure it, guess what? It shows zero curvature. There's tons of laser tests. There's tons of long distance observation, world record, right? That are taken by just regular people, regular photographer, are not flat earthers. They can see over 300 kilometers easy from one country to another country, right? So only long distance observation destroyed the globe, right? You got to understand that in order to have your your globe, right? Well, the radius needs to be correct, right? The curvature needs to be there, right? Because everything is based on the radius, the distance from here to the sun, to the moon, all the celestial body, right? So if we falsify the globe radius on the surface over and over again, you have nothing, zero, no curve, no ball, my friend. It's that simple.
But that doesn't answer my question about how like they have a different perspective about this.
What do you mean different perspective about what? About the reality?
No, about the flat Earth thing.
Oh, you saying the flat earthers have different perspective? Well, that's on them. Yeah. Us over here, the main 24/7 crew, we are empiricists, right? We only talk about the things we can test, we can verify, and we can measure, right? Any other speculation, we're not gonna go through it, right? And if you become a flat earther and you want to go into the speculation, that's on you. We just showing you, to be logical. We just showing you evidence. We just telling you that, all this information that you've been taught, right, about outer space and the globe and all that stuff are just fairy tales. That's it. Anything beyond that, we don't know, right? And we're not going to speculate about like more lands or what's beyond Antarctica and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that would be on you. If you find out the Earth is flat, right, and then you want to look into a little bit deeper about what's beyond Antarctica and all this stuff, that's on you. Some other flat earthers do it, right? But the main 24/7, when we talking to just new people, globies, or just new people in general, we like to talk about the things we can test, verify. You understand?
Okay, so you mean you cannot answer what's beyond the Antarctica because you don't know about the Earth as.
I'm sorry, what?
You mean you don't know about what is the Earth as or what lies beyond Antarctica?
Yeah, we're not claiming that Antarctica is an ice ring that surrounds all the other lands. Like, it could be, like, for all we know, we don't know. Like, we're not saying it is, though. We're not claiming to know what the whole Earth looks like.
So where are you from? Hello.
Yeah, the
Yes, we
Earth
hear.
is flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you guys from then?
I'm from the Earth, the flat Earth, not the globe one.
See, I think like you guys are trolling.
No, sir. No, we're not trolling. Not
No,
trolling.
no.
You said that before, and I explained why we weren't trolling.
I mean, if that is the case, then why all the human beings have different race? Like there's like a black race, and there's like a white race people, and there's like Asian people.
I think you're trolling.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
Hey, listen, you gotta go find God and ask him that. Like, hey, why did you make everybody look different, right? And have different race? When you find God, ask him that question. Yeah, that's something I don't know.
Okay, I see, I understood.
When you do say, like, and how come some are more handsome than others? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And how come some are better at sports?
In particular, basketball.
And math.
Well,
I had a phone call before.
oh no problem. Hey, Avery, I saw your name in the main 24/7. Did you just join that server? What, like a couple days ago or a day ago? What's the date today?
No, I just joined this server like it's been